Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Strong Women series. We are so excited that you are here and joining us. Go ahead and subscribe if you don't already, and write a little comment. Let us know that you're here and that you're watching. We're so excited to have you here. Hey, today we have an incredible guest for you. Her name is Michelle Nichols. Say hi. And I'm really excited. She's a nurse, but actually I'm super excited about this because she reached out to me via a post that was posted on our Instagram account, and she kind of courageously just said, hey, someone encouraged me to submit my story to you, so here I am. And she actually wrote out her story to me, and I thought that was so courageous. I thought that was so brave. And thank you for doing that. And I'm excited for everybody watching to hear your story. So thanks for being here.
No problem. Thank you.
Michelle, how are you?
I'm doing good. We're doing the virtual learning here at this house with 2 kids, so it's a little crazy, but we're taking it minute by minute, literally.
Yes, so that's all you can do right now, just minute by minute. I pray for all of the parents out there who are doing virtual learning, as well as the teachers who are trying to do it on the other end. So
we need it. So
yep. Well, I just love hearing about people's names. I think it says so much. So tell me about your name. Do you like it? Do you love it? Where'd you get it from? Well, I know where you got it from, but how'd it come about?
So my mom actually was going to call me Veronica, I believe, or Victoria, something with the V. And I always go back to it because it's so funny that I would have teachers when I was a kid say, oh, your name's Michelle. And they would start singing Michelle My Belle by the Beatles. And I never heard the song. So I was just like, what is this song? Like, where does it? And then I guess eventually I asked my mom, like, Mom, why did you name me Michelle? Come to find out, it was because of that song that she switched my name to Michelle because of the Beatles song. Mind you, I never heard the song as I throughout my whole childhood, and I actually listened to the song finally, like when I was in college, I think, or even maybe after I graduated from college. So it was just it's funny. I like my name now. I think it was very common back then, and also not Latin at all. So I was like, Mom, like, why did you name me Michelle? Like my sister's name isn't Latin, I would say. It's Carla. So, but I would be like, Carla, and then me, Michelle, like, come on, Mom. Like, so, but now I'm fine with it. Hey,
and you can totally make it sound, Michelle.
Yeah, no, that's how everybody calls me too. And like my childhood friends and family, most of them call me Michi. So it's
yeah.
I do love it. I do love my name.
That's awesome. Well, hey, tell us a little bit about your journey. You shared a powerful story with me in Instagram. Yeah. Tell us about your journey with God. What's that been like?
So I think I even described it to you like this. I feel like the enemy has like attacked me from like conception. My mom and my dad's relationship was a very rocky relationship from the beginning. And while my mom was pregnant with me, her appendix exploded. It wasn't like it exploded. And at one point, when they went in to operate, they were just like, we don't know what's going to happen here. You could die, the baby could die, you both could die by the grace of God. And my mom always tells everybody this story. She said that right before they put her under, this little old man came up to her and she thought it was a doctor. He told her, you're going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And then she woke up. I survived the surgery. She said this was back in the 80s. So like she said that they didn't, after the surgery, they really didn't like close the incision completely. So she had like an open wound at one point, but she was pregnant, like 7-8 months pregnant with this open wound, and it was just crazy. But after I was born, my father was hit tragically by an accident by a car. He was walking, and I was 2 years old. My mom was pregnant with my younger sister, and so she my mom wasn't married to my dad, and my grandmother decided to keep him on like life support and all that good stuff.
Wow.
So he lived in a vegetative state for 10 years. So from 2 to 11, he passed away a week before my birthday, my 12th birthday. That's how I knew my dad. I have pictures of my dad and I when I was younger too. Like like from my second birthday, and younger. But like that's how I remembered him. I remembered him in a hospital with a trach, which is a hole in your throat, for people that don't know what trachs are. But I feel like because of that experience, my sister and I were always afraid of going to go see my dad, because as you can imagine, as a child going to see something like that, it was hard for us. But the nurses always would give us this ice cream, this hood ice cream. And it would make us a little bit, like it would make it a little bit more comfortable, or that experience be like that. And my mom would stay in my dad's room, but I would always walk with my sister to like the chapel. And we'd always pray. We would always pray for healing. We would always pray, and we really, at that point in our lives, my mom always had some kind of, we always had some kind of relationship with God through religion. We've gone through a couple of Christian sects. Like we were Catholic when we grew up, and then left the Catholic Church. And then now I go to a non-denominational church. But we were praying to whatever like virgin was there, and it was cute because we were kids. But it just shows you how, as a child, you have that, your faith is sometimes even stronger than adults because our minds are so pure. You know what I mean? All we were praying for was that our dad was gonna, come out of it.
I love that you said that just then, because the Bible does, Jesus reminds us to have childlike faith. And that's such a beautiful picture of like looking at that sort of childlike faith.
Yep.
Awesome.
Absolutely. So my mom ends up being a single parent. She then has my youngest brother also. So she's got 3 kids, and it was like a mix of a childhood. I believe it was just like, you have your single parent and household, and you see how much she's working and, trying to provide for all 3 children, especially now being a mom. I don't know how she did it, but like she always says, she's like, wasn't me, that was all God. And she always says that because, she has a couple of things going on with her. She's bipolar. She's had manic episodes probably every summer after my father had the accident. It was always around the time where he had the accident that she would be hospitalized for 2 weeks. At the last couple of hospitalizations, they were actually probably like a month. So that was kind of like our normal routine. Like that was just like how, we saw it. And through all of that, through her mental health issues, like she was able to raise us. We never were kids that were in things of like drugs or gangs or, out in the streets, like, doing who knows what. Like, mind you, she was very strict. She was very strict. She was like the Bible. She had that, that rod and that love. Like it was just back and forth. And then my sister and I were also blessed with 2 full, like I got a full ride, full scholarship to Northeastern University. And then my sister 3 years later got a full ride. And I mean, that was my mom's American dream. If I was going to have children here in the United States, it was to, provide and give them a better life than she had. And what other way than to have a free, private college education for 2 of her 3 children. So that was amazing. And that was a big blessing that we always are just like that was God. You know, and I mean, that I feel like culmination of like between me being conceived and, you know, heading to college was a big, like, I guess, proof of God's love and God's protection and God's covering over myself, my family, my mother. And, you know, just knowing that the enemy could throw whatever he wants at you, and if you just keep that faith and you keep that love that you have with, you know, with God, and that relationship that you have with him, that, you know, everything is going to be okay. He wants us to win. You know, we're going to be winners at the end of it. And that's what, you know, that's what I feel like my journey through that time meant or means to me, is just that, you know, you just gotta lean in and believe that, you know, everything's gonna be okay, even though it doesn't look like it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Michelle, that is incredible. I think it's funny because, you know, your story is so interconnected and intertwined with your mom. And, you know, for so many people, I know their mom is such a strength and such a pillar. And it's beautiful to see that even in like what you were saying, like what the enemy meant for evil, you know, with these things that your mom had to deal with, that she had to go through, that you still were able to grow up in this environment, in this home that felt very supportive still, which, you know, is not the same story for everybody else. And I think it's beautiful that in that action, like that you took that as, you know, proof of God's love, proof of God's sort of just existence and his grace over you, because that's what it is. Like, you have so much grace in your life, which is absolutely beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'd love to hear a little bit about how you feel God's purpose has been walking out in your life. I always say God has a plan for each one of us, and it looks very different. So what do you feel like God has called you to? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Sure. So how I mentioned before, when my father was hospitalized, that connection that we had with the nurses when we went to go see them, I think that was, in a way, I feel like I always say this, and I know a lot of us always say this, that everything happens for a reason. And I think that my father being in that hospital and being in a vegetative state for 10 years was just God showing me that this is kind of where you're going to go, in the sense of you're going to give people that relief that those nurses would give us, that love that they gave us, and that comfort that they gave us. That's what I wanted to do in my life. So I feel like that has been my calling in life, and a lot of the reason why I decided to become a nurse. But it's funny because even with nursing, I've always known that there was always going to be something else that was outside of nursing. And I know, you know, we always think that God's putting us in a situation and it's just going to be that. But he likes to move us around and switch things up on us. Because I remember talking to my friends, even in college or after college, and I'm like, well, I just worked all of that for a college degree. I'm never going to be a stay-at-home mom. You know what I mean? Like, I worked so hard for that degree and I'm going to make my money. And I never in my life would have thought that I would be like a stay-at-home mom. And here I am, thanks to COVID, you know, and there you go. It's like COVID, we all stressed out. We were all bugging out about it. Oh my goodness, you know, everybody's like, oh, we have to be, you know, and especially with nursing, since we weren't really quarantined, we were out there, you know, our jobs really didn't change. Our lives really didn't change, because you can't quarantine when you're, you know, a first responder. But I decided that, you know, my kids and my family, you know, they're my calling too. They're my why. And I needed to stay home with them so things could work out. And thank God for husbands that get it and understand it, are supportive, because without hesitation, I was actually kind of nervous asking my husband, like, can I go part-time? Can I go per diem? And then he would always say, hey, you know, if you think that that's what's going to help us and that's the best thing we could do, go ahead. and do your thing. So right now, I'm with my children Monday through Friday. I do work weekends if I can, which I usually can. But and I'm a home care nurse, so I do home care, so it's more flexible. Like I'll do my visits and then I'm home. But I've noticed how much of a blessing it has been to be home with the kids, because I'm able to, you know, see them, see how they're growing, see how they're the same or similar, but also how they're different. It's just been amazing. And I also have I have 3 kids. I have a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 15-month-old. And the 15-month-old has been the child that's never been to a daycare. You know, she's just had such a different experience than her 2 older siblings. So it's just been amazing just to be around her as much as I have been, because I wasn't able to do that with the 2 oldest. So it's been the blessings with all the craziness that I've been focusing on it, and knowing that, okay, this isn't what I pictured, but this is where God wanted me. And there's no doubt about it, because every time I go to bed and I wake up in the morning and I'm praying to God, it's just like, I know this is where he eventually wanted me, even though it wasn't where I thought it was going to be, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, man, isn't that the story? I feel like that happens so often. I feel like I was in that boat with you too. I always thought of like, man, you know, I went to this school and I got this degree and I'm going to be studying this thing and all this time, and then God comes in and just changes the plan altogether, and he changes your heart for what you even wanted to do. But I love that. I love it because it does feel like this adventure that we're on, you know, and that we get to be a part of that if we're listening, if we're trying to be like, you know, obedient and listen to what he's saying. And I think it is awesome that you are getting to spend that time really raising your kids. And that is such a sweet time for so many parents I know who, you know, they're home now with their kids, and maybe there is a reason bigger than we can think of that, you know, that's the way that God designed it for this season. So that is so cool. Thank you for sharing that. So Michelle, if you had in a couple of sentences to say what one big life lesson was, I know there's like lots of life lessons, but just one life lesson, what would that be?
It's something we tell our kids, and it's don't quit. Keep going, push through, even if you fall, even though you fail, you lose, just don't quit and just keep going, because I feel like that builds that character in you, you know? And then if you have that character, if you have that desire or that will to fight anything, you'll be a winner eventually in everything. So
awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. Hey, if people want to get in contact with you, talk to you, maybe they just loved your story, where can they find you?
Sure. So I have my Instagram, I'm Michi, Michi 3583. And then my Facebook, I guess, would be my other social media outlet that I use a lot. And that's Michelle Gomez Nichols.
Awesome. And we'll put those links there on the bottom too, just in case you want to say hi, reach out, say something. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your story, for being brave, and for coming on here. Thank you. Just thank you. And for everyone else who has been here watching, thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you don't already, and leave some comments. Let us know that you've watched. And also you can follow us on Instagram at strongwomen_of_God. Until next time, take care.